Hi, welcome to another episode of Beyond Chronic Disease. My name is Wendy. I'm your host. Today, I'm going to be talking about arguing. So recently, I was on a job at a job site, and in one of the neighbouring properties, a gentleman was arguing on the phone. Now, this argument went on for the whole time I was on the job, probably half an hour or more, and the words that I heard every now and again were the same words, the same story over and over and over again, trying to justify why he did what he did and obviously not seeking approval from the person on the other end of the line. So he constantly was saying the same thing over and over again, and not just quietly, but quite loudly, as you would expect a typical argument between two people in this day and age. And it was comical. I'll tell you why it was comical. For one, there's no justification needed for your actions at all. You know why you're doing the things that you're doing, and that is all that matters, realistically. Sometimes, like, we all have errors in judgment in our actions and speech at times. I know I do. And that's part of not being perfect. And I keep talking about how it's not about you, it's all about the other person. So, coming to this gentleman on the phone, I'm guessing it's only assumptions, but just for this podcast, this is, my point, that the person that he was trying to justify his behavior to was somebody that didn't agree with what happened. And maybe by the sounds of it, he was in a little bit of a controlling situation by this person, the way that he was speaking. So, it doesn't, the point of arguing is there is no point, because you have a point of view or an opinion, however you want to look at it. The other person has their own point of view or opinion, and you're not in an argument, you're not going to sway, and it's not up to you to sway somebody's opinion anyway. So what's the point of arguing? I find arguing, which I don't think I do. I find arguing just energetically draining. I've come to this over the years. Sure, I used to argue. It's just energetically draining. And, when you're arguing, especially with somebody that just has their fixed point of view, they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They can't see because they have blinkers on, all of these things. They just can't see out of what they believe to be true. Then really, there's just no point in even saying anything to these people, because they just don't understand a different way, or, some people don't understand different choices even, and just get fixated on their one problem as such. So arguing, it was, so getting back to this situation, it was quite, it was like grating on my energy field. It was not making me feel good in that situation. And, I didn't have to be in that position for the whole time, but I certainly had to be close to where it was going on to do some parts of the job. And it was, so that made me feel that way. And I wasn't even a part of the argument. I was a bystander. So the tone in the gentleman's voice that was arguing was clearly, I could just feel how he felt. And I was even saying, like, just stop, just hang up the phone. So, excuse me, a little foggy in the throat this morning. So my question to you is, how many of you get on the phone to your internet provider and you're trying to put across one of your points of view, your problem per se, and they're not listening to you, or they're telling you to reset this, or, and you've done that and you've done that and you've done it, and you just keep saying, I've done it, it's not working. How many of you start getting quite heightened in your emotions and start telling stories about the situation that's going on? I'm sure many of you have. I've heard so many people saying that they've been, trying to put, people back in their place, I guess, or trying to get something of their point across to them because they're so stupid on the other end of the line, they don't understand. So, how is that making you feel? I'm guessing it's making you feel really frustrated and angry and just all, emotion all over your body. I don't know. However arguing makes you feel. Sometimes it might make you feel enjoyable, but I doubt that. Happy or not, whatever. I doubt that. If that's what you're going to say. But this all goes back to what I often say: there's no right and there's no wrong, because we all are very different humans. We've all come from different parents. We've all come from different backgrounds and everything. So everything's going to affect us in a different way. But the point is, and I've said that a few times, there is no point in arguing. None. Zilch. I mean, you think about, somebody says something to you and then you make it into an argument. Probably a classic example is neighbors arguing over fences and things like that, which is just crazy. What does it prove, for starters? I just think it proves how stupid you are, to be honest, if you continue an argument. And does it actually get you the result that you want? So life's not about your point of view and your opinion. It's all about getting the result that you want. And, if you have to, do it in a way that is really inhumane, then that just shows me what sort of person you are. And clearly not a very nice one. Putting it out there. So the next time you decide to feel like you need to argue, stop. Just stop and think about what result you want, how you want to feel, and perhaps, to stop anything from going any further, just say to that person, oh, I didn't understand that, or, oh, you're right. Just tell them they're right. And then they'll probably go, oh, there's some people out there that argue with you just for the sake of arguing with you. And I know this to be true because I have it in my own life. And have you ever, spoken to somebody on the phone, the next minute they've raised their voice and they're telling you about, their trying to tell you what you think and what you are and all this sort of stuff. And, you know, you think, well, where the hell did that come from? Well, it's all coming from them. It's all coming from their, you know, unhappiness, perhaps their misfortunes, their problems, all of the stuff that's happening with them. And, you know, there's no point in continuing an argument or even starting one with people you know that are possibly in a situation that they're hurting, because, you know, we all probably know people like that. So the whole point of this is arguing is pointless. No point at all. And if there's some of you out there, you might say, oh yeah, but Wendy, no, there's no situation at all in this world, in this lifetime, ever, that you need to argue with somebody. Now, sure, if you're having a pleasant conversation with somebody and you don't agree on something, that's fine. You don't have to agree. The biggest problem is that people like you to agree with them. They like, you know, they'll be telling you something about, you know, something someone's done to them and the way they've handled it, and they want you to approve of what they've done, because that's what we all like, you know, to be approved. We all like approval. You know, that's the human way. But the thing is, you don't require it realistically. Well, not realistically, you don't require it at all. You don't require approval. You need to live your life your way, in a kind way, and don't argue with anybody. Take my advice on this one. Don't argue. Even if you know that somebody's saying something that's completely BS, and you know for a fact that it is, or, you know, anything, just my advice is, if you can't stand being there, listening to it, just get up and walk away. You know, I was in a situation one day that I didn't want to be in, been in lots of them, but unfortunately I had to. So I had an abnormal number of toilet breaks throughout that time, and just to get away from the situation, you know. So it saved any arguing. It saved me from looking like an idiot. And it felt so damn good that I did that and didn't create any arguing or anything like that, because it was all about, you know, how I wanted to portray myself. So arguing, it was quite, this particular day, getting back to it, was quite comical at the end, you know, especially when, you know, after such a long time, it was just the same old story. And I mean, what is the point of it? What is the point of it? So my advice to you is, don't argue, because there's no point to arguing, and test it for yourself. See how it goes. You know, I've just told you not to argue. Pick an argument, see what happens. I mean, I'd be too scared to in this day and age. So, you know, and a little bit of advice. I mean, there's so much road rage going on. If somebody cuts you off, just go, oh, okay. Like, just wave at them. It's okay, mate. You know, instead of doing whatever else you do, and see how that makes you feel. You know, because we all know how, you know, it makes you feel when you do all the other stuff. You know, it just makes you really angry, and And then you get to work and you tell everybody about it, and it just makes you, you're even more angry, and then you have a whole angry day. Wow, that must feel really good for you. So next time somebody cuts you off, instead of yelling and screaming and giving the finger, how about you just acknowledge that they did that? Because most of the time people don't realize what they're doing. I mean, unless you're a perfect person, which I'd love to meet because I've never met one yet. But if you're that perfect person and you never do anything wrong on the road, wrong as in, accidentally cut somebody off, or, whatever, I don't know, that's probably the main thing. So if you're that perfect person, hey, one, I want to meet you. And two, oh, I totally agree why you get upset if somebody would cut you off. But if you're like me, not perfect, I've pulled in front of people, not seen them before, and and I've even, put my hand out the window. I'm sorry about that. And I've put my indicator, the wrong indicator on, and by accident I've knocked it, and I've flashed high beam when I didn't mean to, and all these things. Like, if you took all of that on board as something that you've done wrong, like if I did all that to you, and then you thought that, oh, what am I doing wrong? Then of course you would get upset over it. But if you just, acknowledge that, oh yeah, hey, yep, I've done this or you've done that. Okay, no worries. We all do things like that on the road or in life in general. Then the world would be a much better place, and you would be a lot calmer. And so, getting back to it, don't argue. It's a waste of time, and we've only got one life on this planet, physical life on this planet. And why waste your time on doing something that doesn't make you feel good? And I know for a fact it doesn't make you feel good. People have told me that they feel good after getting off a phone call and putting people back in their place. Yeah, I don't believe you. So anyway, don't argue, waste of time, and it doesn't prove anything other than, you're probably the twit. So happy Monday. Take that on board, or not. And I will see you again next week. Bye.